Good evening, friends. We are going to continue reading Anna and Martin's on Christmas Eve. We are going to start chapter 7, and it is Christmas Eve, and the family has just returned home from church, where older sister was an angel, and they came home, and they did their family traditions, and now it's bedtime, and our friend, I always forget her name, and that's terrible of me. Tess. I should remember that. Tess is anxious. Hi, Georgia. To meet Santa. Chapter 7. I know I will not have any trouble staying awake until midnight. Large Coke or no large Coke, I will not fall asleep tonight before I meet Santa. The magic is building all around me, building toward midnight. The hum is growing louder, and sounds seem to be sharpened and softened at the same time. I hear chirps and clucks and wings fluttering. I can even hear the horses stomping their feet in the Andersons' barn. But I hear all these things in a muted way that makes me think the world is wrapped in a gauze. Outside my window, I see millions and millions of pinprick stars and birds roosting on every branch of every tree. I have never felt the magic so strongly before, and I do not want to miss a moment of it. I lie on my bed again, rest my hands under my head, and feel my flannel nightgown against my legs. I listen to the sounds from downstairs. I am pretty sure I know what Mom and Dad are doing. Now that Evie and I are in bed, they are putting the presents under the tree. All those presents that have been arriving in the mail, and others our parents have bought and hidden in the house. I know where their hiding place is. Evie discovered it 3 years ago. It's very clever. A box way back in a corner of our attic. The box is huge. It's a cardboard wardrobe, and it's labeled winter coats, which sounds pretty boring. I think it actually does wear winter coats in the summer, but it's empty in the winter, except when Mom and Dad hide things in it that they don't want Evie and me to see. Sure enough, just after the clock in the living room chimes once for 10:30, I hear footsteps climbing upstairs, walking along the hallway, then after the door to the attic opens, climbing another flight. A few minutes later, the footsteps return to the living room, then make a second trip to the attic. I picture Dad with his arms piled with wrapped gifts. Some of those gifts bear tags that read, "To Evie from Mom," or "For Tess from Mom and Dad." But other tags, I am quite sure, say, "For Tess from Santa Claus," or "To Evie from Santa," in Mom's handwriting. I slip out of bed and tiptoe across the chilly room to the door, where I put my ear to the crack and listen. I can hear Christmas carols on the radio. I imagine Mom and Dad taking a break, sitting in front of the fire, maybe sipping tea. Soon I know they will fill the stockings. Later, Santa will add a few things of his own to the stockings, of course, and I suppose he will add a present or two to the pile under the tree, although in the excitement tomorrow, Mom and Dad and Evie probably won't realize that they actually are from Santa. But I will know. I dash across my room again, my feet beginning to feel like ice cubes. For the next half hour, I simply lie in bed and listen, or sit up and look out the window. It seems to me that each time I gaze across the snow to the Andersons' barn, the sky above it is a bit brighter. I'm kneeling on my bed, looking out the window again, when our house grows quieter. Mom and Dad have turned off the radio. There are no more sounds coming from the living room, but suddenly there are footsteps in the hallway. In a flash, I scurry under the covers, turn onto my stomach, face the wall, close my eyes, and breathe deeply. When the door to my room opens, I am as still as the moon. Light from the hallway falls across my face as someone peeps in at me, then closes the door quietly. I do not move again until I am certain Mom and Dad are in bed and sound asleep. The clock chimes 11:30. I throw the covers back and kneel once more at the window. I open it slightly, even though the air is absolutely freezing. I tiptoe to my closet, put on my bathrobe, then return to the window. The most powerful magic is almost here, and now I must pay close attention to everything. I breathe in the winter air, breathe in deeply, then let my breath out in cloudy puffs. The air is crisp. It is clean and sharp. I let my eyes travel across the snow, across the road, and again to the sky above the Andersons' barn, and my eyes light on an enormous star. I have never seen it before. It is rising and rising, and as I watch, it finally settles so that it appears to hover just a few feet above the barn, making the barn seem to glow as if it were lit from inside instead of outside. I turn back to my room and hear the hum louder now, then face the window again. In the distance, I hear bells. Sleigh bells, I think, and then I realize I hear church bells too, chiming out carols and hymns and ancient tunes. The birds begin to leave the trees, and a dove flies by my window, a white dove from a fairy tale or a picture book. It moves lazily, turning to look at me for a moment, then continues its slow flight, around our house twice, then gently as if it's floating across our yard and across the road to the barn, where it perches on the roof. Ting, 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 ring the sleigh bells. Gloria in excelsis Deo, chime the church bells. Go tell it on the mountain, a voice whispers this near my ear, and I jump, startled. I turn around, but no one is in my room. The hum is fading though, I notice, and in its place all around me, just in the air, are little murmurings and mutterings and snippets of songs. Love came down at Christmas. The boar's head, as I understand, is the rarest dish in all this land. Wassail, wassail all over the town. In the bleak midwinter long ago, peace on earth, goodwill to men. I take one last look outside, at the brilliant star, at the glowing barn, at the sky, which is now filled with birds, at our yard, in which I see chipmunks and squirrels chattering away, a family of pheasants hurrying along, and 4 deer, the regular kind, not reindeer, who look as though they are holding a conversation. I close the window, shutting out the icy air, but after I do, I can still hear the bells and the songs and the voices on the wind. I turn and start to slide off my bed, but leap backward when I see Sadie sitting by my desk, her head cocked to the side. How did she get into my room? The door is open, but I know Mom and Dad closed it before they went to bed. Sadie, I say, and she cocks her head to the other side. Sadie, how did you open the door? She pulls her lips back in a doggy grin, stands up, and shakes herself. Moving slowly and carefully, I open the top drawer of my desk and take out the snow globe I bought for Santa. I have decided not to wrap it. I want to show it to Santa and explain why I chose it for him. I have arranged it in a box, though, a box lined with tissue paper, so the globe won't break as Santa goes flying around the world. Then I take one last look out the window, just long enough to see that hundreds of birds, doves and sparrows and cardinals and chickadees and others I can't identify, have arranged themselves in rows on the barn roof, covering it like feathered shingles. Their loud chatter sounds almost like words, but I can't understand what they're saying. Come on, Sadie, I whisper. Let's go downstairs and wait for Santa. We have to be very quiet, though, okay? I step silently into the hallway, pause, and listen. Evie's door is closed. So is the door to Mom and Dad's room. I reach down and rest my hand on Sadie's warm head, and we tiptoe along the hallway, then step cautiously down the stairs. The living room is as I had expected it would be. The fire in the hearth is only glowing embers now. Above it hang our stockings, already stuffed by Mom and Dad, and under the tree is a pile of presents. I reach down, read a few of the tags, for a test from Sarah. To Evie, love Aunt Adele and Uncle Paul. And sure enough, Merry Christmas to Tess from Santa. And what I am certain is Mom's handwriting. I peek through the window and look out at the yard. The animals I saw there earlier are now moving toward the barn, joined by others. The star shines as brightly as ever, and the ringing and chiming and songs and words are everywhere. Indoors, outdoors, in my head, I hear one particularly loud voice. And this shall be the sign, the heavenly babe you there shall find, to human view displayed, all meanly wrapped in swathing bands, and in a manger laid. I look at Sadie, who is looking back at me with contented, squinty eyes. What? Tell me what is going to happen, I say. You know, don't you? Sadie flops down onto her haunches, her tongue hanging out. I flop down into an armchair. It is near the Christmas tree, and it faces the fireplace. The box of the snow globe rests in my lap. I look at the clock on the mantel. 10 minutes until midnight. I settle back and wait. Chapter 8. The hands on the clock move closer to midnight. As they do, the room seems to grow noisier and noisier. I must be the only human in our house who can hear the din, though. The murmurings and mutterings have become loud voices, the songs now offered up by entire choirs. In all the noise, though, I feel only peace. I gaze into the fireplace. I am staring at the red and orange embers when a gust of wind comes whooshing down the chimney, roaring and whistling and bringing with it dry leaves and a swirl of snow. 11:59. With a loud pop and a shower of sparks, the fire springs to life again. Soon it is crackling away, as big as a blaze as when we hung our stockings hours earlier. I grip the arms of the chair. For the first time, I feel just the teeniest bit afraid. Afraid of what, exactly? I will see tonight. I do not think that on the dot of midnight, Santa will slide down the chimney. That will happen later. But something is about to happen, and I don't know what. I look outside at the star, at the birds on the roof of the barn, at the animals streaming toward the barn. I listen to the music, the songs, the bells. A voice loud but clear and pure sings over and over again. What happiness befalls me, what happiness befalls me. And the clock chimes 12. It is midnight on Christmas Eve. I glance at Sadie, then gasp and sit up straight as a wavery form appears above the hearth. The form shimmers and begins to take shape. I see wings, a gown, a head, and above the head, what must be a halo, although it looks absolutely nothing like the halo Evie fashioned for her pageant costume. There is an angel in our living room, but only for a moment. Just as I let out a small cry, the angel fades away. I am on my feet now, breathing hard. Sadie's on her feet, too. She stands beside me, looks up at me with her gentle eyes, and says, "Don't be afraid, Tess." I can't answer. Sadie has spoken to me, and I'm speechless. And then I remember old stories, things I had read in books. Something about the animals being able to talk on Christmas Eve. Why has this never occurred to me? That in this time of wonder and magic, Sadie would be able to speak, that I could talk to her and she could answer me, just as I've wished for so long. Sadie, I whisper, sinking back into the chair. I no longer feel afraid. Sadie jumps into my lap and looks into my eyes, her snout inches from my face. "It's Christmas magic," she replies, and her voice is smooth and low. Not quite a growl, not quite human. I can't think what to say next. I have been waiting 3 years to be able to talk with Sadie. I've told her secrets, told her my scary dreams in the middle of the night, complained to her about school problems when I walked with her down our lane. Now here she is, sitting in my lap, telling me about Christmas magic. And I say to her, Sadie, you can talk. Are we feeding you the right kind of food? Sadie laughs. The right kind of food? I suppose it's all right, as dog food goes. I laugh too. I can't. I never. I was thinking so much about Santa. I didn't think about any other Christmas magic. I just thought I'd see Santa Claus come down the chimney tonight. I never dreamed anything else would happen. How long will you be able to talk? For a while, says Sadie. Can you talk every Christmas Eve? Sadie nods her head. Why haven't I heard you? Because you weren't ready to hear me. You were a believer, Tess, but this year you let yourself perceive the magic. It's inside you now. I nod. I don't so much understand this as feel it. Sadie, I pause, thinking of all I want to ask her. Sadie, where did you come from? How did you get into that ditch when you were a puppy? I was born in the woods, she replies. The woods you go to when you look for your Christmas trees. My mother had 2 pups, my sister and me. She left us one day and was hit by a car, I think. Someone found my sister just before you found me. Did your mother give you another name? I ask. Maybe Sadie isn't your proper name. Sadie is a fine name, she says, but my mother named me River. Dog mothers name their puppies for things that are important to them. You can call me Sadie, though. I scratch her ears and tell her solemnly, You're one of my best friends, you know that? Thank you, I do know that, says Sadie, and she presses her paw into my hand. Oh, I exclaim, you mean you can understand me even when you can't answer? Yes. Do you understand everything we say to you all year long? Yes. So I could talk to you anytime and you'll understand me? Yes, answers Sadie. She shifts position in my lap, but her eyes hold mine steadily. Something wonderful occurs to me. Do you get to see the Christmas magic every year? Sadie nods her head. Do all animals see it? I ask. She nods again. And can they talk every year? Yes, but most humans can't hear them. Do you see the angel? I go on, and hear the bells and the singing? Yes, it's all part of the Christmas magic, Sadie tells me patiently. Think about what happened on the first Christmas, the Christmas in the stable, and think about what has happened on Christmases since then. Everything comes together each year, past and present, ancient and new. The magic, I say, trying to understand. What happened on the first Christmas? Was that magic? Sadie looks thoughtful. No, she says slowly, not magic, a miracle, I suppose. But it's magic now that keeps. Sadie stops speaking suddenly, straightens, and cocks her head to the right. What is it? I ask, my heart quickening. Shh, says Sadie softly. Then, listen. Do you hear it, Tess? I realize that over all the other sounds, I now hear a sharp jingling of bells, which drowns out the other bells and the voices and music and songs. The sleigh bells? I ask. Yes, cries Sadie, jumping off my lap. She runs to our front door. Tess, hurry, get ready. Santa Claus is about to arrive. We'll pick it up with chapter 9.